The samurai had the katana, the Mongolians had the kukri, and we have the kitchen knife. Knowing how to use kitchen knives is not just for professional chefs, but it's for anyone who may find themselves in a kitchen at one time in their life. So basically, everyone should know how to use these things. The first thing you're going to need to know is which knives to invest in, how to hold them properly and cut, and then how to do some basic maintenance to keep them performing at their best for years to come. Now, owning a kitchen knife can be a scary, kind of intimidating thing because there's literally dozens, if not hundreds, of knives to choose from. But what if I told you there's only 3 essential knives you really had to invest in? The first one is going to be the chef's knife. This one has about an 8 to 10 inch blade, and if you had to have one knife, this is the one you're going to want because this will do about 90% of all your slicing jobs in the kitchen. The second knife you want to get is the bread knife. It's got a longer blade, up to 12 inches, and it's going to have a serrated edge. Mine isn't serrated, but just pretend it's serrated. This is great for getting into crust like bread, anything that has a large surface or waxy surface like tomatoes and bell peppers. The third knife you want to get is going to be your paring knife. This is a smaller knife. It's got about 3.5 inch to 4 inch blade. It's for more precise cutting, and if you're trying to get into something like garlic, this is going to be much more friendly than trying to go at it with this guy. All the other chef knives you see at the store, kitchen knives, have very specific purposes. So unless you are the culinary student or professor or professional chef, you're really not going to need them. Now that we know which knives to invest in, it's important to know how to use them. According to Brendan McDermott at the Culinary Institute of Education in New York, he recommends holding the knife by the choke, which is right up here, right against the blade, with your last 3 fingers, and then you use your pointer finger and your thumb to grip on the blade. That gives you more security over it, and while you're cutting, you maintain your arm at a natural angle, and a lot of us like to put our finger on the blade, which kind of forces us to angle up the knife, and we have a lot more room to kind of slip inside and get our fingers caught in the process. And that's where this comes in handy, because now you have the blade much lower, and while you're holding food, you kind of want to do like a dragon claw sort of pose, and you want to keep it on the food, and that way while you're cutting, your knife is flush against your knuckles, and you will never get your fingers chopped in there, and you just kind of use your fingers to kind of inch away your food as you're cutting. Now the cut he recommends is using a circular cut, which is where you're going to keep your blade on your board the entire time, and you're going to kind of do a circular cut by pulling it back and then pushing it forward. The knife is designed to slice, not chop. The more you chop, the more you bang it against hard surfaces, you're going to cause your blade to dull out, and it's going to ruin the blade fairly quickly. So that's where getting to know some basic maintenance comes in very handy. According to Ree Drummond, aka the Pioneer Woman, she says there's 3 things you need to worry about when it comes to maintenance with your knives, and that's cleaning them, storing them, and sharpening them. There are 2 popular methods when it comes to sharpening your knife. The first one is going to be with the honing stick, where you take a honing stick and you're going to rub your blade against it at a certain angle. That doesn't necessarily sharpen it, whereas it realigns the blade after it's been curled. The more popular method is to use a whetstone, which is a porous stone, and you're going to rub your blade on it against a certain angle, and it's going to sharpen the blade for you. It is a more advanced technique, so practice on your in-laws' knives before you use your own. Now, when it comes to storing them, there are 3 popular ways to do it. The first one's going to be with your knife block that sits on top of your counter. It has individual slots for each knife, and you just put it in, and it'll sit there. When you need it, you just grab it and pull it out. The biggest concern with storing your knife is you want to do it safely, so there's no chance of you grabbing the blade and cutting yourself, or you want to protect your blade as well, so it's not getting dinged up against anything that could hurt it. If you want to store it in a drawer, buy a sheath. You can buy sheaths for all sorts of different knives. and that'll keep it protected for your hand and against other utensils. Another popular method is you get a magnetic strip that can attach to your wall, and the blade will magnetize to it and stick directly to it. Now when it comes to cleaning, always by hand, wash and dry. Warm soapy water and then dry with a towel thoroughly afterwards. That'll keep food particles off of it, which will eat your blade slowly. So be sure to always dry it, and before you store it especially, because you don't want to store it with moisture on your blade. So there you have it. Now you know which knives to invest in. You know how to use them, how to cut properly. You know that you need to wash them by hand and dry them, how to store them, and how to keep them sharp. Our lives may not depend on a blade, but in the kitchen, it sure does help make life a lot easier.